Crash. 1944. A freighter has been sunk by a U-boat off the coast of Bermuda. The freighter retaliated, and the U-boat is down. Wreckage. We open on a solitary lifeboat with a surviving civilian. She's a reporter. More and more survivors come on board. 3 merchant marines, a medic, 2 British infantry, a civilian woman and her baby, and 1 Nazi from the U-boat. But wait, there's a secret Nazi aboard. It's the baby. He's Hitler. Their Bermuda Triangle created a time tunnel. Now they have a chance to stop the Holocaust. Will they overcome their humanity and throw baby Adolf overboard? This is Stephen King's Lifeboat, directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Welcome to Flyby Films once or twice a month using the magic of distance-defying tubes or some stupid shit like that. We get together to discuss films that either have been or will be forgotten. I'm Blake Collier. And with me tonight in Chico, California, the national capital of Sierra Nevada Brewery, I think, is my friend and co-host, Jamison Barsotti. Jamison.
Blake.
On this episode, we are talking about a lesser-known Alfred Hitchcock film.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the simple fact that we can actually find a Hitchcock film that could reasonably be put into the forgotten category is quite impressive, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later. But I think the fact that the reason why I picked this is actually pretty funny. It's one that's been on my list for a long time.
Okay.
And the fact that it fit all of our categories fairly well was surprising to me because I didn't expect it to pass the Google search test, and it largely does.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had my wife's friend in Austin had an ex-husband who, when I first started dating my wife, they were still married, and he was obsessed with this film. And he tried to get me to watch it a couple of times while we were there, and it never worked out. I mean, I was open to watching it, but it just never worked out. It was either too late and I was like going to fall asleep, or it just didn't work. So it was always in my head as something I needed to watch because this was one of the few like significant others of my wife's friends that I got along with really well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, this guy has pretty decent taste. I mean, might as well give it a shot. Well, it just popped in my head this last time, and I was like, well, I'll take a look and see what kind of, stuff is written about it and whatnot. I couldn't find a whole lot. So I was like, well, shit, might as well put it on the list. Yeah, so here we are, 1944's Lifeboat.
Yeah, I was about to ask why it was even on your list. So it's some random guy who pops into your life for whatever reason, friendly guy, and you put it on your list. I think that happens a lot to people, especially guys who like come in who are that level.
Yeah.
Because I do this with my friends, where if my friends recommend, and this is total bullshit. Like, I'm not justifying this behavior, but my good friends, when they recommend something to me, there's like this like, I don't know if I'll have time. I think I don't really understand what it is. It might be some sort of like competitive nature. Like, you saw this movie before me. How dare you, dickhead? It's so weird. But when there's like this, like, it's almost like you're dating a person, kind of, because like there's this like, when you're getting to know them and they suggest something to you and you kind of want to watch it, or you put it on your queue to please them. And I don't know. It's fascinating.
I've been there. Yep.
It's fascinating how these things. And so I think I have a lot of movies in my like mental queue of like, oh, I really want to see that because of these almost ephemeral relationships. Yeah. Not
I
saying
don't.
that I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly what you're at with this, but yeah.
Oh no, at the time, like I would say that probably fit within that category. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to further the fact that I was getting along with this guy. I wanted to make sure that I kept that going, and that way, every time I came to this person's, house, like I would have someone to like visit with and shoot the shit with, and
Yeah.
not be standoffish and whatnot. So yeah, I mean it's been on my list for a long time. So I was like, oh, okay, well this will give me a chance to watch it finally. Even though this guy is not in the picture anymore, but yeah, I was pleased to finally take something off of my long list of movies I haven't seen. So
Did
it's
you think
never
about
ending.
did you think about texting him going, "Hey, I
I you
finally
know
watched
I
Lifeboat."
actually would have if I had his number, but I don't.
Okay. Okay. Well, Blake's friend, if you're listening, Blake
He's
has
not.
repaid his debt to you. Hey, he might find this somewhere down the line in history of
Somewhere in the
whatnot.
SEO.
In the SEO. Yeah, the SEO tunnel. Yeah, Blake has repaid his debt to you, so
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, definitely. Um, yeah. So, Jamison, how have you been?
I've been all right. Lots of travel this month. Um,
Yeah, I feel
we
like you've been going every other week to Washington.
yeah, no, we have. Well, okay, so we've only been to Washington once so far, this
Mm-hmm.
month. But that was last week. It was for my brother-in-law's wedding. It was a great trip. It was fun. It was really busy, lots of driving. It's about 12 hours to Seattle from where we are, driving, and we were able to split it up in 2 days. But next week, we're going back to Washington. This time a little bit closer, just to Vancouver, Washington, which is actually better known as a suburb of Portland, but Portland is in Oregon, so it's kind of weird to say I'm going to Portland when I'm actually going to Washington. Um, I don't know if you care about
That's like
weird regional geography.
what's really the classic example is like someone says they went to Kansas City. Oh, Kansas City in Missouri or
Yeah.
Kansas City in Kansas. Um, and that's the classic like that doesn't
Hmm.
actually describe anything. Like, what are we talking about here? Um, that's the one you just described is like just underneath that as far as it's like confusion.
Yeah, yeah. Although I will say with the Kansas City one,
Yeah,
if you guess Kansas City, Missouri, which isn't, if you don't know anything about it, isn't
yeah,
what you're gonna guess, you'd be right 85% of the time.
yes.
Because there's not a lot going on in Kansas City, Kansas. So,
Even
not
though
saying
they
there's
are like
nothing.
right across the state line from each other. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's like the same city, although
yeah.
probably different. They probably have different governments.
Oh, they would
Yeah,
have to. I mean,
absolutely. Or you just have to, I don't know, make some weird exception.
there'd be a
Like,
weird city council setup in that situation.
yeah.
Um, yeah, no. So this is all work related that you're going to.
No, no, this is family.
Oh,
Although I am
God.
going, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but
Uh,
you're going the following the following week after a week off. Is that what you're
no,
telling
no,
me
no,
here?
no, no. I'm not going again. Which is great. No. I actually avoided my work during that time, but I am going to be working on this time. I'm taking like travel days off, but I will be working except for the weekends. So,
Okay.
it's blah. But
And when are you leaving for that?
Thursday after work, we're gonna go camp. We're gonna cut the driving by. It's still about 9 hours to Portland. We're gonna cut it by a couple hours so that on Friday
Okay.
we've got less of a drive. So
Nice.
and Hazel's been really into camping since we had a successful camping trip. So
Beautiful.
he's like, I want to go camping. And last weekend we basically stayed in a trailer that had no electricity, no water, so it was basically like camping. And so he got to camp again, and that was a big success.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What about you, Blake?
I got to take care of my 2 sons for 5 days without another parent in the house.
Amazing.
And that included going to volunteering for vacation Bible school for 3 of those days.
Nice.
So you got to see me doing little dance moves to shitty, atrocious kids worship music. But I didn't tell them that. I'm not that, not that bad of a sack of shit. So, no, it was fun.
I'm less offended by shitty kids worship music
than you are by shitty adult worship music.
Yeah,
which is most of it.
I mean, this is because I'm not offended. Like, I'm less offended by like kid songs than I am crappy pop songs. So I feel like the analogy is the same.
Yeah,
but yeah,
no, that's fair. That's fair. I struggle with it all. So, I was telling a coworker the other day that they were talking. I was telling them about volunteering for VBS. I told them exactly what I told you, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, some of those worship songs are like really like emotionally damaging." I was like, "Yeah, well, on top of that, most of them are shitty." So, and I was like, "That's why I tend to be a hymn guy." Now those motherfuckers knew how to write. Whenever you read those old hymns, good Lord. That's like Shakespeare compared to the shit you find out now. So, but.
Well, yeah.
That's a digression.
I think songs, when we're talking about like hymns, they were definitely written to be multi-generational and more timeless. Yeah. Whereas I think a lot of music that follows the pop sensibility is meant to be in the moment and
dated. Yeah.
Very, very dated. And,
expiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything we've learned from Christian music, it's we definitely the mainstream Christian music likes to pull from that. So
that is true. Very much so. So yeah, did that and then went back to work. Felt like I had never actually had a weekend. It wasn't bad, but the pure like brutality of just being a single parent with 2 young boys, it was tiring.
I can imagine. So, yeah. I get that way when I'm a single parent with 1 young boy. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. And then I pulled I watched 2 young boys for 5 days without any help card, and I was like, I'm going to go see this movie on Saturday night, and my wife was like, cool. So
nice. Nice. So what did you see, Blake?
I saw this spectacular horror film, Weapons, by Zach Kreger. Kreger? Yep, Kreger. Who did Barbarian, which, by the way, when I saw Barbarian, I knew jack shit about it. I think the first time I'd heard of that movie was when I was looking at what was on, and I was like, oh, that might be okay. And I picked it. And I had not seen any trailers, had not heard anything about it. Went in completely blind, probably blinder than any other movie I've seen in a theater. since I was like,
Mm-hmm.
a small kid and didn't know what the fuck was going on. And I was blown away.
Yeah.
And so I went into this one with a lot more hype because I was like, well, he didn't disappoint in that one. But with hype always comes that question, like, can he pull it off again? Can he pull off the magic again? And I think I liked it better, honestly.
I actually think this is a better film than Barbarian. Like, I agree. I enjoyed Barbarian. Like, I I I think that this is a story that is, you know, is trying and succeeds at being a good story. I
Mm-hmm.
think Barbarian was interesting. I think it was more interested in being fun. Not
Yeah.
that Weapons isn't fun, but I don't think that was the main goal of it.
Yeah.
Right,
No.
was to just be a popcorn flick. Whereas Barbarian, for all the things that it does well, I think the main goal of it was, I want to make some quick horror bucks around October, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I don't want to sound like I feel like I'm pitting like elevated horror versus other horror or whatnot. I don't care about that
That's
distinction, but
fine. That's fine if
but
you want to pit.
yeah, yeah. But like Weapons is like the type of movie that I'm going to recommend to my parents-in-law because I think like it's an actual good story.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would want to watch Barbarian with my father-in-law unless he was in a weird mood.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense. I
No,
don't know.
that's fair. I'm not sure I'd want to watch it with my family either. I
Yeah.
would probably watch it with my niece, but that's because we watch horror films all the time together. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I like the fact that it's coming under fire for not having a quote unquote meaning to it. And I think that only makes me love it more. Um,
Yeah. I honestly don't get that. Like I almost feel like people because okay, you mentioned you did this rabbit hole of reading interviews with
mhm.
Zach Kreger. And I mean, I read a few, or at least some pull quotes from these. Do you want to talk a little bit about what he was saying?
Yeah, so I I like what I kind of like what he does. So what his apparently his typical procedure in writing a movie is basically just like coming up with an idea and then saying and then this. And then he thinks about it and he's like, what would go well with this. And he just has fun writing the first draft. Like he just enjoys like the making, like
Hmm.
how weird can I make this without making it like just, batshit off the wall bad.
Yeah.
And trying to steer it in a way that's interesting and whatnot. And then he does what he calls the unfun part of taking 70 pages of script work and trying to whittle it into something that makes sense. um,
Hmm.
and so with this one, apparently he did the same thing, but he was in a situation where he had just had his friend die.
Hmm.
Not too long before that. Um, there was other factors going into that as well. He also was kind of drudging up some of his home life when he was young with
Hmm.
alcoholic parents, and um, yeah, it was a he wrote this one in a similar way as Barbarian, but there was a different point to writing it. He was trying to get out those unknown feelings
Hmm.
and kind of ideas and emotions he was building up inside about all the stuff that had happened. And he said that the final section of the film, which is from Alex's perspective, was pretty much straight from his childhood as far as like the emotion of it. So yeah, he then had to go back and of course make it into something that made some sense. Now, he also mentioned that the perspectival part of it, because that was the most surprising part for me. I didn't expect it to be divided into perspectives
Yeah.
of characters. So I was like, oh, okay. So we're going in this direction. Interesting. And I thought he handled that really well. Apparently, that aspect was because of Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia, which is funny because there's a lot of, as you mentioned to me, there's a lot of Magnolia reference in the movie, and so so it tracks. Like it makes complete sense how that influenced it. Anyway, so all this stuff to say that like this was like basically him working through his emotions around death and whatnot, which on the surface should have turned into grief porn. It should have been an A24 film, honestly. If you take it on just the story, like the story of him writing it, all of it should have been like, perfect A24, quote unquote elevated horror where the text is replaced. It replaces the subtext. But then he takes this and he's like, no, it's not my job to tell you what to think about a movie.
How to feel.
How to feel about something. Like I am judging my own past and my own experiences in the present day. I'm trying to put it, and I'm trying to like elucidate that into the story, but that's my takeaway. That doesn't mean that that's what you're going to take from it. So, I appreciated all the things he had to say. As far as I don't typically like reading interviews by filmmakers because most of the time it's kind of comes off as almost a little too pretentious. But I appreciate people like Zach Kreger who are like, they sound at least human, and that they're very like grounded in their language. They're not like they're not talking about mise en scene and crap like that. I was very taken by, Jean-Luc Godard's mise en scene in this movie, and so I wanted to do something similar to that. No, he didn't do that. He was like, no, I just I had to get this out.
Yeah, so. I think the closest thing was I did read, there's some quote where he talks about being a fan of Lynch's transcendental meditation. But again, that's more just like him describing his process and saying like, look, I like to sit and then conjure up images and then write them down.
Write it out.
Like, and the way you described it was like more about his process and then, just like kind of following this thing and through this, and then there's this, into things that he likes and then kind of forcing it into something that other people might like too in a movie sense. And then, without trying to like shoehorn, yes, there's going to be like emotional content in the movie that kind of builds out these things. I think it's interesting because I think the idea that when people say like, well, what is it about? And it's like, well, it's about the story that Zach Kreger wrote, right?
Exactly.
Like, why do we need a global narrative to 2 hours worth of cinema, right? Like, you watch a movie and you spend 2 hours. There's no promise that should give you some sort of global revelation about the meaning of life, right?
No.
And to expect that just feels, I don't know, silly and childish.
Well, and also expecting that from a movie is problematic in the first place. Movie's never going to be able to single-handedly strike that posture in any kind of satisfactory way. It
Which
might.
is why I don't like Tree of Life. Just
Okay,
kidding.
strong opinions coming out. I like it.
I'm just kidding. I that's not how I feel about Tree of Life. But
but I totally get it at the same time. I've seen Tree of Life once, and I don't particularly ever want to see it again. Not because I didn't like it, just because I got the gist and I remember a good portion of it. So I'm like, I don't really want to waste another 3 hours, so I can watch 2 other movies in that amount of time.
Yeah.
So it's like that in Melancholia, which I put in a similar category. I like both films. I may like Melancholia a little bit more, but it's not a movie I'm gonna actively choose to watch again. So,
have we talked about this? Do you want another strong opinion?
oh, go for it. Hit me. I love
I
strong opinions.
do not like Melancholia at
You don't
all.
at
I
all?
don't. I waited to watch it too. Like, I didn't watch it when it first came out. I think it was like 5 years later. And I just had the worst time watching it.
Not even Kirsten Dunst could save it for you, huh?
Not even Kirsten Dunst. And I'm not someone who hates everything Von Trier does. I just hate a lot of things that Von Trier does.
Did you ever see Antichrist?
I didn't ever see Antichrist.
I'd be curious about your thoughts on that film.
You know, I've wanted to go back to it because again, I don't hate Von Trier, and I think he actually finds a way to speak to me through some of his stories, but some of them just are big turnoffs, and Melancholia unfortunately fit into that one.
I think Melancholia was the beginning of the time when he started to become a spoof of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I get why people don't like Melancholia. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, yeah, it worked for me on a more largely a visual level.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. Like, I wouldn't say the story was anything astounding or profound or anything. But visually, I really enjoyed it. But it does seem like from that point on, he basically was just being actively provocative and not in a really interesting way, just
Mm-hmm.
mainly trying to get like press. So, I mean, look at the 2 Nymphomaniac movies. I mean,
Yeah.
why? Why?
Well, Shia LaBeouf needed something to do, right?
You know what? I like Shia. I like him, but come on, like seriously, like we didn't need this. This is just you being an ass and wanting to like get everyone into a fever. So yeah, but I totally get it. Jamison, we've got some pretty serious hard hitting guests coming up, don't we?
We do.
Would you like to talk about one of them?
You know what? I will talk about one of them. I will also talk about the context, which is that, Blake, we blew past our 3-year anniversary. You realize that?
We've been doing this for 3 years.
We've been doing this for 3
Shit, it's
years.
felt like 15. Just kidding.
And we're gonna do it for 15 more, Blake. Just keep it coming.
Just keep the content coming.
Content train.
The 12 listeners we've got need content.
Speaking of trains, Blake, do you want? I have to tell the story now.
Okay.
This is something dirty, and
Ooh.
it involves. It's what's the word? Unintentionally dirty. Yeah. So, keep that in mind because it involves my son.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I mean, it can't be any worse than me making a joke about him doing The Stranger. Remember you talking
I don't.
about him like his arm falling asleep for the first time?
Oh
Him
yeah,
like
yeah,
losing his mind about like I can't feel my arm. What? And I made a joke about him doing The Stranger.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, it can't be any worse than that.
Uh, okay. So he's been really into trains lately,
Okay.
and one thing we know about trains. What's the first thing that you think of when you think of a train?
Probably Thomas the Engine, but that's because
Sure. What's the last thing you think of when you think of a train?
Caboose.
Exactly. So he's learned about the caboose because it's the final car in a train.
Did
And
he tell some lady that she had to find Caboose
no, no. Uh, maybe at some point he
and
will.
then slap it?
No. I have another funny story. But I'll tell you that later. Um, so my son, he's been into cabooses lately, and he's, into train cars, and he likes to pretend that he has a train, a pretend train, and he has a caboose, and so he's just been walking around without context, without like talking about the train in general, just saying, "Come in my caboose, come in my caboose." And when Kira and I first heard this, we were like, "What is he saying?" Because we didn't know he was talking about a train. And now every time he says it, we like are trying not to laugh. It's very innocent from him. But we're trying not to make it dirty around him, at least. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that's funny,
yeah,
and
uh,
that is not at all what I expected to hear.
yeah. Well, that's my train story. Uh oh, we were talking about the future of Fly
Of
by
the
Films.
podcast, yeah,
Yeah.
at least in the coming months.
In the coming months. So we've been
It's
doing
probably
this
gonna go back
pretty.
to normal after that.
I, we could go to the moon. We could rocket to
We
the
could,
moon,
we could.
Blake. Um, so for the 12 listeners who have stuck with us these 3 years, the dozens of us,
With
um,
17 Spotify listeners, apparently.
wow, that I don't think I even know 17 people who listen to Spotify. I probably do. They just keep it quiet from me because they think I'm a Bandcamp snob.
It's kind of like me and
So,
my French streaming company.
oh yeah, cool buzz,
Cool
cool,
Bows.
cool buzz. Um, so we actually are. We are making it. We've made it. We've arrived. That's the news. And what does that mean?
But why have we arrived?
Why have we arrived?
Because we
We
came in your caboose?
no. Yeah, we came in the caboose and we've arrived. We arrived in the caboose. No, we have arrived because we are actually going to have a bona fide movie maker on the podcast.
And we are definitely going to introduce him as such, a movie maker.
Movie maker, a cinema storyteller, um,
A
an
cinematic liar, also known as a documentarian.
a documentarian, an actual documentarian
Yep.
who went onto the Googles and found us and asked to be on our show. I think this is
And yes, your first thought whenever you hear this, knowing the kind of content that we put on this program, is was this a bot? And that was the first thought that came into our heads too. But carry on.
This bot has turned into an actual screener. Well, I haven't clicked on the link, so
Yes,
it's
it actually shows up as Vimeo.
uh,
I've put the password in. It's real.
okay. Good. I'm
I
glad.
just
I'm
haven't
glad.
watched it yet.
I'm glad you checked that out.
It's called due diligence.
Yeah, that's good. Um, so this is an actual thing that happens when you respond to emails that you think are bots. So definitely, that's if there's one takeaway, um, it's respond to those bot emails.
So maybe if an African prince is asking you for a certain amount of money in order to get investment returned, I don't know. Check the
You know,
deets.
you know what? If it can legitimize our podcast, I might send him that money. You know?
You know what? He didn't ask for any money. That's the best part.
Oh yeah, no, we're not sending any movie makers that. I meant the African prince.
Yeah, well, of course.
Of course, yeah. Anyway, so there, that's a little future
But you're not going to
promo.
tell him who this person is. You're going to let that be a surprise.
I think I've already told everyone that I know that listens to the podcast who it is, but I'm not.
Well, we
I don't.
have not told Thad or Reed
Oh,
or
well,
Demetrius.
we'll keep it a secret.
Oh,
It'll be a little excitement for the
yeah,
future.
yeah. So we got this guy coming on, and then we got on the next episode, or at least in theory, barring any difficulties, is a bona fide movie critic,
An
like a
actual.
bona fide movie critic, and he's been doing this for a long time. It's a guy I happen to know. Well, not know. I've never actually seen him in real life, but I've known him online for over probably close to a decade at this point. Maybe a little less, but close. And he's part of a trio of brothers who review movies. They have their own podcast, but once again, we're going to keep that secret until the next episode when you'll find out who it is, and we will make sure to. Well, depending on how the episode goes, he may not want us to mention his other podcasts in case, it's going to destroy the reputation. But yeah. So yeah, we got a bona fide movie critic coming up and a bona fide documentarian coming up. I mean, we have made it, folks. The sky is the limit.
We're going to the moon. Rocket to the moon.
So yeah.
Yeah. And then okay. So after all of this, we will probably start our Halloween episodes. Which
just so you know, the documentarian will probably be the only September episode.
Yes, but you might get one at the end of September. Are you telling me that you're not going to be available after?
No, I'm just saying that that's probably going to be the only quote-unquote September episode.
Yes.
That is not part of our Halloween series.
Yeah. And then after our Halloween series, we do also have some other guests lined up.
Yeah, but they're not. They're
okay. Not. They're not. Okay. Well,
just kidding. I love those guys.
One of them is a bona fide author.
Bona fide author, and the other one is a bona fide second guest.
Podcast.
This is his second time.
Yeah.
This will be his second time on the show.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, if we get that far, is going to be a second time guest too.
Yeah.
Shit. Jamison's already forgotten. He's like, whatever.
I have no idea what. Oh.
He's going to take us to task for a past film that we.
You didn't respond to that. That's why I know what you're talking about now. I know who you're talking about now.
Well, I don't know if it's going to actually happen or not, but yeah, that's the plan.
Did you make that suggestion? Because I said he should come on and take us to task.
Oh yeah. I think he might pick another film from that filmmaker's collection to talk about. So
that would be great. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep that. Let's keep that under wraps too.
Yeah.
There's so many things that came to mind that I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this, but we can save that for
So
later.
basically what we're saying here is minus the next episode with our bona fide film critic, who is actually going to follow our rules.
Great.
This is going to be the last normal episode for the year.
Yeah, we have a lot of excitement planned.
Yeah, it's
And
gonna be a good. It's gonna be a good quarter.
we have a lot of excitement that's unplanned too, like our entire
Well,
Halloween.
most of it's
Yeah,
unplanned.
it's mostly unplanned.
What are we gonna do? Our theme for Halloween? Do we even want to mention this?
Yeah, no, we've mentioned it before. It's the seven
Have we
deadly.
mentioned it?
It's the
Oh man,
seven
these are
deadly
running
sins.
together.
That's the one thing we are going to mention. Yeah, we're going to be doing the seven deadly sins. I don't know how we're going to fit seven sins
I mean,
into 5 episodes.
we've got 2 months. We'll be fine. We'll
No,
figure it out.
but I just realized the prime number problem here. 5 and 7.
No, I
There's
remember now. I brought this up.
You brought
And
this up.
you were like, nah, we'll figure it out. And now you're all concerned about it, and you've made me concerned.
I mean, all we need to do is just slide a few of the sins that no one cares about into some of the other episodes. So,
I mean, basically just pick the ones that no Americans have and throw
yeah.
them out. I mean,
Yeah.
like greed. Americans don't have that.
Or the ones that aren't important, like greed and sloth, and
Well, no, sloth. Americans are very much a big fan of that one. They're like, you Puritan work ethic and all. No, we're talking lust. We got to have the sexy times.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't. Anyway.
So
More
greed
to
and
come on
lust.
that.
We will not be doing those.
No, we're gonna do those. We're gonna fit them in. We'll find a way. Nature finds a way. Blake. Nature finds a way.
Life finds a way, right? That's what Elizabeth Dawn taught us.
That's the actual quote, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Blake, I feel like we have done a lot of bullshitting, and we only got through 2 of the topics that I had written down.
Well, we still got 5 minutes. Let's do this real quick.
We got one of the topics. I am going to skip another one because I feel like we need more time to talk about that. So let's go with something light. I feel like we've been heavy. We gave them a movie recommendation. We talked about the future of the show. Blake, what is the best song that you have heard this year?
So you prepped me for this like about 2 minutes before we went live to record this. So I told you that I thought of one that will work, but if I actually like considered all my option, it may not be that one. But I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with it, and this will be my favorite song of 2025.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how good anything else from this point on is. This will be it.
Okay. We're claiming 2025 now. Okay. Blake's song of the year.
It is from an English singer-songwriter who is 3 albums deep at this point. He's a young buck.
Ed Sheeran?
Fuck you.
Sorry.
No, he's got way more than 3 albums.
I don't know.
Jag off.
I literally do not know the number of albums that Ed Sheeran has. So, yeah, it might as well have been 3.
No, this man's name is Sam Fender. And I know I've talked about him in the past, but he released a new album early on this year. Back in February, I think it was. And it's called People Watching. A very good album. The first couple of times I listened to it, I was like, this isn't quite living up to his last album, which was kind of a masterpiece in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I've sat with it and listened to it, and I haven't actually listened to it in a few months, so I need to go back and give it another roll. But he, it's got a lot of warmth to it. It's very human, and I think it works on a lot of levels. But the interesting thing about this album is it's kind of flanked by a beginning and end by
Mm-hmm.
songs dedicated to his grandmother, who was like the one like positive force in his young life, with a lot of upheaval in his home life and whatnot. And so his grandmother died apparently fairly recently and had dementia of some sort. And the final song on the album is called "Remember My Name," and it's basically a song about. I mean, it works with the concept of the album. So it like
Mm-hmm.
the build up is part of the emotion of it, but you get to this song and he's talked throughout the album about how he has doubts about God, and he's concerned about, he's a leftist politically, so he's very
Mm-hmm.
much labor oriented. He's like blue collar people. He's like Northern England, um, docks, dock workers and whatnot. And so he calls out the bullshit from like a
Mm-hmm.
Marxist perspective often, outside of his music. But his music is less preachy for the
Mm-hmm.
most part. But he's, talks about God. He talks about the state of existence, whatnot throughout the album. And he gets to the final one, and he's like, he's like, I still don't know about God. I don't know about the afterlife. Um, but I know that the one thing I want you to know, like, I hope is the case, is that you ultimately end up remembering my name, because by the end of
Mm-hmm.
it, she did not remember anything. So yeah, it's a pretty touching song. Um, the first song in the album is him kind of going back and forth, traveling to see his grandmother
Mm-hmm.
at the facility she was at, and I think it was close to the end of her life, and just knowing that it was imminent. And the title song is "People Watching." That's the first song in the album. Is he would ride the train and uh, the public transport and just watch people and wonder about their stories and wonder about the kind of suffering that they were going through, similar to what he was going through at that point. So, and then he ends with the song where she's actually passed, and he just hopes that she remembers that. So, yeah, I would say
Mm-hmm.
that's probably my favorite of the year.
Yeah.
What about you, Jamison?
That was great. I don't know if I can follow that up, man.
Yeah, you can.
Uh,
Please, God,
I
give it some
I
lightheartedness.
I got goose pimples
You got goose
listening to
pimples?
you talk about that.
You should listen to the album. It's good.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to. I think everybody who listened to you describe that is going to. Have you ever thought about writing about music?
Oh, I've tried a couple of times. It's rough.
I know. That's why that's why I brought it up, because I know
Yeah.
you have this struggle. But man, you talk good about music.
I talk
Uh,
real good about
you
musics.
talk real good about music.
I
No,
like how you said, let's bring something light. And then I just drop
yeah,
into like
you
dementia. Oh, fuck.
fucking
Just can't
asshole.
win this.
No, no, that's good. I my favorite song of the year. So there's a band called Greet Death, and I was talking to you about this band 2 months ago or something like that.
What's it called?
Um,
Greek Death?
Greet Death. Oh yeah, I
Greek
guess
Death. Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Greek
yeah.
Greek
Yeah, I know which
Greek
one it
Death.
is.
Greet Death. Yeah.
Yeah, Greek.
Um,
I thought you said Greek Death. I was like, I don't remember that one. But
Greek
Greek
Death.
Death, yes, I do remember that one. I still haven't
Uh,
listened to that album. I need to.
Yeah, it's a pretty good album, but the first single off that album, Country Girl, is just such a standout. And it's sneaky too, because if you listen to the whole album, if you're if you've listened to Greet Death's albums before, they're kind of like a slacker Midwest country tinged band. They're a little shoegazy, but I guess they've been described as y'alternative
Oh my
before.
god.
I know.
Was that Pitchfork?
No, I don't. I actually don't know who called them y'alternative. I thought it was kind of funny. I enjoy saying that.
It's clever.
For the same, I get the same joy out of it that I get from like pull my finger jokes. So I know it's not a good thing, right?
Yeah.
If it's on that level, it's not good. But I get a sick joy from it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're actually pretty heavy normally, and this album was a little bit lighter, including this song. There's some grunge to it, but like, it wasn't hitting as much. And then I started listening to it, and a weird thing about music for me is I don't normally read lyrics. I can, and I can dive into them and read out the meaning. But I'm very. I think this is. I listened to a lot of harsh music as a kid in formative years, and you can't really understand what they're saying, and so it just kind of became this noise thing. And so I kind of take that with me into how I approach music. But there was something weird about the song where it's called Country Girl, and it's about this character who kind of does these like, country things. They're in a small town they can't really break out of. And then as I was listening to the song, were these really creepy references that I was hearing about comparisons to Michael Myers and seeing demons and things like that. And I was like, I gotta read this. And it's this really, really unsettling story where it feels like a country song, kind of. It has that harder edge to it, but the main character is mentally disturbed and sees demons throughout it, and goes to these like these crazy Satanist parties, and I don't know. It's very weird, and it the story somehow also brings in that feeling of not being able to escape your hometown. And there's, again, like I said, this comparison to Michael Myers, and him being like the country king to this person's country queen.
Wow. Okay.
And how he's just this like down home boy. But there are like some interesting lines where this person is kind of thinking about this comparison, but then realizes that that Halloween, even though it takes place in Illinois in Haddonfield, it was filmed in Venice Beach, and Laurie Strode has never been, to the beach, and even though Jamie Lee Curtis has, obviously. And so there's this kind of like breaking down of these stories that you see on TV and in the movies, and how they're not real, but there's still people, I guess, like, coming from a rural area in California, there are still people that kind of are stuck in these places. And, there's terrors on screen, but then there's also kind of local terrors that are real. Anyway,
Okay.
I thought it was a good story.
That sounds weirdly deep.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit
like
of me.
in an esoteric kind of way.
it's probably a little bit of me reading into it, but I thought it was pretty well done, and it's got a good, I don't know, it has a good like, it really just feels like Wilco wrote the song. It's got a really good like uh good drive to it, good beat. I don't
Okay.
know. And
Okay.
and
So here, Jamison. So here's the task for the week.
okay.
This has to be done this week. You have to listen to the Sam Fender album, and
Okay.
I've got to listen to the Greet Death album. So then
Gr-
the next episode we can compare,
I
or
will
the
say
following episode, or the one
I
after
will
that.
yeah, I will say I do like the album as a whole. I don't think it's my favorite album of the year. But this
Oh, I'm
is
not
definitely
talking. Yeah, no,
top
no,
song. Yeah.
no, no.
Okay.
It's all about hearing the song. But if you're, both of us are album completist guys. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't just listen to songs; we listen to the album. So
Um
I don't think
okay.
Sam Fender's album would be my number one either. Even though I think it would be in my top ones for the year, but um, there's a lot of really great albums out there, including I was listening to the newest Craig Finn the other night, and I had forgotten how good it was too. So, but Craig Finn, he's hard to beat in general. So
It's hard to beat.
hard to beat. Yeah. So hard turn into
Hard turn.
movie discussion.
So
1944. What was going
19
on in 1944? Was there
um
anything interesting going on?
well, Hitchcock was making a movie um and collaborating with none other than Ernest Hemingway. But Ernest Hemingway actually turned him down.
He's like, fuck this guy.
He was like, "Fuck this guy! I don't want to do this." And so, uh, what what does a reasonable um, director of caliber do if Ernest Hemingway turns you down? You go to second-rate Ernest Hemingway. Um,
Oh, don't
I
call him
know, no,
second
I know,
rate.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I
No,
mean,
you
I've
go.
only read one book by the guy and I hated it, but I recognize he's got talent.
I just think it's funny that Hitchcock went to Hemingway first, and then
Yeah.
when he was rejected, he went to Steinbeck.
Oh, I don't think he was just rejected. I think he was dejected.
Yeah,
He was like,
probably.
oh, he probably kicked some dirt. He's like, oh, shit.
Ate another turkey leg,
Yep.
Um, but yeah, no. So it's written by John Steinbeck, and it's so interesting because when you pop the movie on, you'll see Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat by John Steinbeck, and
Yeah.
then 2 seconds later you see screenplay by someone else, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? Because I've never
Yeah.
heard of John Steinbeck's Lifeboat
Yeah.
novel
No.
before.
I actually looked it up because I thought it was like a short story at first, but then I was looking, and that's what led me to the post I sent you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was very interesting
Because
because
I was planning on trying to read it and seeing if it ended up being better than the movie was.
Well, okay. I'm gonna circle back to our first discussion about this
Yeah.
movie. If your friend texted you tomorrow and was like, "Hey, you gotta check out this movie," and a completely different movie, you've never heard of it before, now that you've seen Lifeboat, would you go, "Oh yeah, for sure," and then just not do anything, or would you put it on your queue?
Would you say? Are you saying that I might film ghost him?
Are you gonna film ghost your friend after this movie?
Not necessarily. I usually am pretty lenient with my friends as far as like, or I wouldn't say he's a friend at this point, but people that generally speaking enjoy or like, I'm pretty lenient. Like, I'm not gonna, say that they've got crap tastes just off of one movie. I'd probably
Mhm.
watch whatever the second recommendation was. Um, so, and I don't despise this movie. It just didn't end up being anything like I thought, and I think the problem with Hitchcock is that sometimes if you've watched enough of his films, you wait for the other shoe to drop, and the shoe never dropped on this one. It was
Yeah.
exactly what you saw on the screen, and what you saw on the screen was just fine.
Yeah. I
So,
yeah, I actually don't think I didn't like this movie.
yeah, no, it was
I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done in some ways. Is it forgettable? Yeah. It's
yeah.
pretty forgettable. It's not one of Hitchcock's masterpieces. And that's fine. I don't think anyone thinks it is. But yeah, I you know, I I think the M Night Shyamalan version might be more fun.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. You mean the
But yeah,
Stephen King written,
yeah. Sorry,
Shyamalan directed
yeah,
film?
yeah, the
Yes,
Stephen
yeah,
King written one.
yeah.
Which so just to explain the intro of the of the show, I was texting with as I was watching this, I was texting with Blake the alternative version of this movie that was directed by M Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
So we decided to turn that. Well, I decided to turn that into 20 minutes of effort where I actually wrote it out and recorded a preview for it. So
20
you're
minutes of
welcome.
effort. I think that's the most effort we've put into anything.
I don't know if it was exactly 20 minutes. I'm probably rounding up.
Oh, I don't know. I think the most effort we put into something was reading that elephant article
Oh, yeah.
that we did, like chess on the chess computer or computer chess or whatever. What was the name of that film?
Computer chess. Yeah.
Computer chess. Didn't we read it for that one?
I'm trying to think if I think so.
Yeah. That was a long article. A great article, but
That
long.
it was long. It was too much. Notice we don't give each other homework anymore,
No,
other than watching a movie.
because our lives are too crazy right now.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
we're just trying to get the movies watched.
yeah. Which is the perfect time for our podcast to blow up.
Oh
Actually,
yeah, I
right?
I, I think exactly that.
That
You know what was the thing you said? What was the thing you said that you've been at, like, this is
oh
the least interested in movies you've been
yeah.
at this point in our podcast time, and
And this is
and this is when it's blowing up.
yeah.
And by
That's
blowing up, we mean getting legitimate guests, not that our listener base is
our
going to grow.
yeah. We do not expect any of that to happen. Um, but yeah.
I am going to ask. I am going to ask. How did y'all find us? What made you think? I mean, you gotta admit, it's the first question on your mind, Jamison.
It is, but I I think the answer is going to be like waiting for the Hitchcock shoe to drop, right? I
Yeah.
think it's going to be I don't get asked to be on podcasts. I had my assistant do a Google search and your name came up. Like
You know,
I
so
I would be I
basically
would
what you're saying is that I need to get some sound drops, and whenever he says something like that, I'll push the button. It'll be like wah wah wah.
yeah, you need the womp womp sound. Yes, absolutely. No. So bringing it back to this. This movie, okay. There were twists, I guess,
Sort of.
kind of. Okay, so the biggest twist to me was like an emotional. It wasn't even a twist. It was kind of what the movie was building towards, right? And there's like a will they, won't they aspect to it, which is like, so again, actually, if you want to know the setting for the movie, watch or go back, listen to the first half of the intro because that actually sets up the movie pretty well.
Yeah.
The last half has nothing to do with the movie, as you probably have guessed.
It's fucking brilliant.
But it is about a lifeboat that survives after these two ships go down. One of them being a U-boat, a Nazi U-boat, the other one being a freighter that was carrying, various allied
This would have been
groups.
during the Korean War, right?
What?
This would have been during the Korean War, right?
Yeah, the Korean
Okay.
War.
Yeah.
With
I was
the
thinking that
Nazis.
was around the 1940s, but I couldn't
Yeah,
remember for sure.
yeah. Oh, Blake, I'm sorry for blowing past you. You bit. You were like asking if there was something, and I took it in a different direction.
Oh, I was just, it was a setup. I don't give a crap.
Um. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know what to do with that. Um. You set me up, and I whiffed it. Um. So it's a lifeboat. You have all these people on it. There's no secret Nazi. There's
No.
a very much known Nazi on the boat. The secret is that,
Well, technically, I guess he's a Nazi.
yeah,
But he turns out to be a good Nazi. Sort of.
kind of. I mean,
He was a giggly big boy.
oh, he's giggly. He's a fun Nazi.
Yeah, he's a fun Nazi.
Fun Nazi, yeah.
Yeah. Not the fascist Nazi that we all grew up with.
Show title: The Fun Nazi. Okay.
Okay, we got it. Nailed it.
That's there. No one will listen to this episode. Yeah, so he is a fun Nazi. He's not a good Nazi. He actually tries to sabotage them every time he gets. But he like everybody else is like running out of food, running out of water, and then, I think what I find most disturbing and frustrating about this movie is they take him as a prisoner and they decide to not kill him and take him as a prisoner of war because, of course, we have values and we care about those. But just fucking frisk him. Like, come on. Just like make sure he doesn't have any weapons on him, or I don't know. Look
But
if he
that's
has
not
anything
something
useful.
we do in polite company, Jamison.
That's prisoners of war is not polite company. He literally just tried to murder everyone. I don't know. Anyway, I just like I would say that's my biggest complaint about the movie is that is a stupid logical one. But I will say the movie carries on, and it's about this decision that they made where they were like, let's not kill him. And every time he tightens the screw a little bit more, you're like, okay, are they going to kill him this time? And then it builds to, should we spoil it?
Sure.
They
And it's not
throw him
really a spoiler.
they throw him overboard, right?
Yeah.
And then they have to sit with the guilt of becoming a mob.
Yeah. But not really. I mean, the moral quandary is not really like it's barely a quandary. Let's be serious here.
I think maybe it carries more weight because I'm reading this fucking book that you made me read that's
Yeah.
eight 800 hours long. Um,
Yeah.
that
You're
that
welcome.
that has more of a moral quandary about this same
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Uh. Yeah. So I went into this. I read the description on IMDb, which I guess I should have known better going into the movie. It said there's a boat with a bunch of people after a German U-boat has sunk the ship, and there's a Nazi on the boat. Well, what's the first thing you think of? The Nazi? You don't know that the Nazi is someone on the boat. Like one of them is like an informant or something like that. Something. This is a single location mystery. Like they're gonna figure out who the Nazi is. Like they're gonna like people are gonna start getting killed off and tossed off the boat or something like that, and then it's gonna end up with the thing at the end where there's like two of them left. Which one's the Nazi? That kind of thing. No, that's not at all. Not at all what's going on here. You know who the Nazi is from the beginning. And you're just watching these people be jackasses during the whole
yeah,
movie. Not only that, but the first scene you see is a woman finely dressed in a lifeboat. And everyone else who gets into that boat is like freaking distraught, is like working class, or at least, lower rank military.
mm-hmm.
And then you got this finely dressed reporter. You're like, okay, first off, no way in hell is she that finely dressed after what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Like, she may have gotten completely clear of that explosion, but she's not going to look that good. And so I was thrown off just right off the bat. I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but whatever. I'm going to suspend disbelief in this moment. And then each character started showing up, and okay, I was like, okay, this is typical. Like, you're introducing all the characters that we're going to be spending this hour and 40 minutes with. Let's see what happens. And then the German U-boat captain. Well, we don't know if he was captain or not. He probably was, but he shows up, and we're oh, so maybe there's another person on the boat who is a secret Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
And they're playing like they're playing like what's the game, spades, like partner spades. You ever played partner spades where you have like a partner across the
Yeah.
table and you have to like read each other, and
Mm-hmm.
and so you can actually win each hand. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
like wondering if like this is what's going on. And I spend every moment of this movie just expecting the shoe to drop and something to be revealed, that someone wasn't who they said they were. And then at the end, it was nothing.
They're playing the
Like,
biggest game of Unsecret Hitler ever.
I mean, it's oh man, it was so ah. And part of that is like Hitchcock, man. I mean, yeah, he's a great director, but at the end of the day, like he's kind of just a generally more accepted version of M. Night Shyamalan.
Maybe. I think that's you were telling me a little bit about that, about your feelings about that, and I think I I get it. I think that's a very flattering way of talking about M. Night Shyamalan. I don't hate M. Night Shyamalan. Not at all.
But you hate some of his movies.
I do hate Lady in the Water so much.
Even more than The Happening?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And see, I texted you the other day and I said, I have an idea for season 5 of this podcast that would make this show go gangbusters. And I got crickets because I think you knew what I was about to say.
Is it watch all of M. Night Shyamalan's
Yes.
movies?
And it would destroy our podcast. We
You
would
know
no
what?
longer be friends.
I disagree.
And
But
you know
you're
who we
just
would
trying to
have
give
on?
me. You're
You
just
know
trying
who
to
we
get
would
me to
have
say
on
this.
for the happening?
Who?
Another repeat guest, Mr. Ryan Ellington, because he, like me, really liked that movie.
We haven't had Ryan Ellington
Yes,
on.
we have. Yes, we have. He came
What?
on for Blackcoat's Daughter.
Oh yeah.
We're not talking about Ian from Group Chat.
No, I get it. Yeah, Ryan Ellington. Yes.
Yeah. Grindhouse Theology. Yeah.
Yeah.
Backdoor Sluts 43. Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, that was a great episode. Yes. We will, sure. Why not?
Because he and I have talked about, if it wasn't for the fact that both of us are busy, he and I have talked about doing a Shyamalan podcast.
You know what? If you do a Shyamalan podcast, I will guest on an episode. If you
We would get you
guests.
on for several episodes.
You're like you make me do this, so you owe me, Jamison.
Yeah. You don't make me do jack shit, Jamison. I do this for the fun of it.
I know.
Yeah, no, I think, and I admit, Shyamalan has his faults. But if you read about Hitchcock, he does too. He was not a nice man.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think the problem is the same though. I think the general problem of their filmographies is very similar. And that's in the fact that there's a expectation of quote unquote surprise in their movies. Like some level of a rug being pulled out from under you.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was texting you about was this idea that I find it fascinating to ponder why one director is largely considered one of the greats and the other director is, or at least has become, quote unquote hack adjacent. And that's what keeps me up at night on a regular basis.
Well, okay.
We're not even going to get into the other comparison I would make for completely different reasons. I've got a whole thing about him and Jordan Peele that I could go into at a later time. But
Shyamalan and Jordan Peele?
Yeah. But it's a completely different thing. Totally different.
All right.
So yeah. But yeah, stay tuned. That might pop up at some point.
Okay. I'm excited. I do think so I think with Hitchcock, you do gotta give him a little bit of like he was doing this first. And and I do think, I think Vertigo and Rear Window and Psycho deserve their place in the pantheon. But Hitchcock made a billion movies.
Yeah.
And there are quite a few turds in those.
Yes.
And in fact, some of them he even realized were turds because he remade them. Yep. And there are a lot of ones that he made when he was working in Britain only, and then when he came to Hollywood, he remade them because the first versions actually suck. I don't know if you've seen the first version of The Man Who Knew The Man Who Knew Too Much. I always get it mixed up with the Bill Murray spoof,
Yeah.
which is the Man Who Knew Too Little.
Yep.
The Man Who Knew Too Much. Don't watch that movie.
If it
Either
doesn't have
version.
Jimmy Stewart in it,
Even
then
if
it's
it
not worth
does.
watching.
Even if it does, it's not really worth watching. But the one with
It's
Jimmy
not the
Stewart
best.
is better. So,
If you're gonna watch a Jimmy Stewart Hitchcock movie, watch either Rope or Vertigo.
yeah. Rope is actually good too.
Rope is probably my favorite Hitchcock. Yeah.
Actually at one point I think I called it one of my favorite movies. I don't know if it's still there. Rope is cool because it's one of those movies where he tries to do a trick. Everything's in one shot, but it actually works. So
And it's got some phenomenal shots.
yeah, it's pretty good, and it's I mean, it's not as surprising as some of his other movies. Like, I think it doesn't suffer like this movie does, but it is kind of like what's going to happen in the end.
It is the most pure description of the classic Hitchcock idea of the ticking time bomb under the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're just waiting for it to blow. Well, when is it going to happen? That's what you're asking during that whole. The trick, like what's going on. The first thing you see in the movie is the setup. It's like they're hiding this dead body in this place. They're having a party to see if they can get away with it.
Yeah.
So what's in this box at all times, and you're just waiting for someone to figure it out.
You know what? I think you've struck on maybe an interesting idea of why Lifeboat doesn't work as well as Rope, which is Lifeboat. The bad guy is the Nazi.
Yeah.
Who is a pretty easy target for being a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, there's this frustration of why are you guys being so nice to the Nazi? Like, why are you allowing him to be the fun Nazi? Like, there's a whole like gap between being not killing him and just allowing him to do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately like their downfall because they're idiots, right? Like everything bad that happens to them is because of that. And maybe this is John Steinbeck's fault. I don't actually know.
I'd be surprised. Like once I got into like the politics of what's going on here, and like the character like dialogue and why they were choosing to do the things they were doing, I'm like, there's no way this is Steinbeck.
Well,
like I read Grapes of Wrath and I really didn't like it back in high school, but at least like you understood why the characters were doing what they were doing. And it's not just complete horse shit like half the time where you're like having to suspend disbelief in like all of these characters' actions.
Yeah. And Steinbeck disowned this movie or tried to. So he wasn't happy with the final product. And actually, his two main criticisms, he had a few other like minor ones, but his two main criticisms were like, it portrays the class, like the way class is portrayed is not how I intended it to be.
Yeah.
Which that didn't really read for me because I actually couldn't tell if the movie was trying to make fun of the upper class or not, just because they seemed so weird, specifically the reporter. And so I think that's maybe like a time generational thing for me. But he also complained that the way black people were portrayed in the movie was very, very stereotypical. Like they were magical,
Yeah.
spiritualists, which that was very obvious.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Especially when you start singing the old hymn. Finishes the hymn that one of the upper crust starts, and couldn't quite fully remember. Yeah, it's and then largely is either bossed around or has no personality outside of that.
Yeah. There's like one moment where they try to like be like, "Oh, he's a real person with a family," but it's like at the very end.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's very very silly. Um but getting back to this point with Rope, I feel like around Rope you get into more interesting Hitchcock, which is like, what if I make the villains uh less obvious, or at least why they would do something like this.
Yeah.
Like in Rope, he's playing with this idea of evil, which is like, what if it's just your students that just decide to be evil?
Yep.
And
And base it off of your philosophical concepts.
Yeah. So, he plays around with this kind of it's not quite meta, but it's like in that, and Jimmy Stewart is great, and he lets him play with that, and go back and forth with that. And so there is a little more discovery in that, rather than just like, there's the Nazi.
Yeah.
There's the Nazi guys.
Yeah.
Even though in Rope you know who the bad guys are, you don't know why the bad guys are. And to see that kind of unfurl is fascinating. It's fun, and it's much more interesting than this movie. So anyway,
I was I was sorely disappointed, but you were I don't remember what you said, but my response to it was, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
I told you basically the first draft of what the intro was.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
You were like,
yeah.
I was like, this is my guess for the movie.
That sounds like a great story, actually, but no, you're not going to get that.
Well, Zach Kreger, if you're listening, you can have that one for free.
I would actually watch a Zach Kreger remake of Lifeboat.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'd be weird as fuck.
There would be a creepy bald woman in it at some point.
Oh, yes. Played by Amy Madigan. Which do you know what she was in? The first thing that comes to my mind with Amy Madigan in it?
I don't know.
Uncle Buck.
Oh.
She is Uncle Buck's soon-to-be girlfriend.
Oh.
By the end of the movie.
Very cool.
I'll never be able to watch Uncle Buck again without seeing the Amy Madigan of Weapons in that role. So
yeah. Well, I was gonna say it also. I mean, it's what connects Barbarian and Weapons is the creepy bald lady.
Creepy bald ladies. Yep.
Yeah.
Whew. Terrifying.
Yeah.
And there's some brutal kills in it too. And the camera does not cut away.
Nope. The camera doesn't cut away. Other things cut away.
Oh yes, very much so.
Yeah. Anyway, well, last thing I'll say before we end the podcast is, if you're thinking about spending 2 hours watching Lifeboat, get a ticket for Weapons instead.
Yeah. Or pay the $20 to watch it, streaming at least.
Sure. Yeah.
But go see it in theaters. It's better. It's fun hearing it in the theaters.
It was good. We did have a pretty big group and I think Kira was more annoyed at that. We went to see it on Kira and I's anniversary,
which is a phenomenal
it's
day to go
just
see this movie.
great anniversary.
What was the other?
fodder.
What was the other? What was the other movie that y'all possibly threw out there?
The other option was Together.
Yeah, so that would have been 2 on the nose.
2 on the nose, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad you went with Weapons.
Yeah. So we decided to watch a movie about missing children to honor our family.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I like it. And, you got to see Josh Brolin, which is always good.
Can't complain about that.
Yeah.
Goonies
Good
never
old
say
Archer.
die.
That's true. Except for when they do.
Yeah.
Die. 9.
All right, Blake.
Das Boot.
We've hit the stream of podcast.
Willkommen.
I'm gonna cut this off.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.